everybody, Andrea Waddell here. I'm going to teach you a technique today on abstracting the landscape. So you're going to start by doing a blind contour drawing. So you're going to look out at nature and just draw without looking at what you're drawing. And then you're going to start reverse painting. So you're going to start with an underpainting, which is the complement. So if I want this area, for example, to be blue, I'm going to deliberately start with its complement, so orange. And then I will layer on top of the orange, the blue. I will layer on top of this sort of blue area, some orange or pinky orange. So the first step is, after you've got your rough drawing down, is just to fill it in with color. It's kind of fun. Just adding your color, following your lines, maybe staying inside those lines for a while. And you'll see that as we go, it remains abstract, but it has the form of a landscape, which is kind of what we're all after when we want to create a unique and original abstracted landscape. So I'm going to add red in here, but I am aware in my mind anyway that this is going to become a green area. I'm not looking at a reference photo, really. This is all from memory. I just went outside the studio and drew what I saw. It's very, very freeing. So this is kind of almost like coloring book style, following the lines, knowing that the colors are kind of awful looking, but they will get harmonized. I often start my acrylic paintings with fluorescence. I love to do that, and it pops through. So watch here, when I start to put the complement, the green, on top of that red, how much depth the green starts to have. It changes the quality of that color dramatically. So that's kind of what we're doing here. You start with the blind contour, you get, that's what I mean by reverse painting, is you're starting with the opposite colors. You're starting with complementary colors, and then you're just going to keep layering opposites, complements on top of each other. I have a video in my feed about color theory for artists. You might want to reference that if you have any questions about color or color theory. So here comes the pink on top of the green, and it's the same effect. You can see that pink starts to have a different quality because it's sitting on top of its complement. And now I'm bringing out these gorgeous colors. Charvin. It's a French brand. Look at that. There's a pink set. Here it is. From Charvin Colors acrylics. Very beautiful, very fun. So I'm pulling all of those out because I want multiple types of pink to put over the green, so that I'm not just going to do one pink. Give it some variety. I'm using those pinks. I'm making pinks with my reds. So whenever, that's sort of a rule of thumb, anytime you're going to use a color, like pink in this case, have multiple versions of it. Look how that sort of starts to read almost lavender. That's pretty. So now here comes the blue on top of the fluorescent. We're going to tone that all down. And like I said, I'm deliberately leaving out areas of that fluorescent just for that little pop of vibrant color. So now I'm making a mistake. I don't realize this, but that piece is very central, that orange area. And I'm just kind of following my instincts here. I'm still following the lines, coloring them in, and holding in my mind that this is all going to get more layers on top of it to give the colors more depth and more subtlety. So it still kind of looks like a landscape. We've got that great big orange circle. So I make a mistake here. I just I grabbed something on my table, which was a dry pastel, gray. And I wanted to kind of suggest movement and rhythm, and it's just too dark. Then I try to mush it all in. And this becomes a problem area, but also a solution. A problem area will inevitably become a solution if you keep working on it. So now that looks like a great big triangle. And I'm going to need to figure out what I'm doing with that, but I haven't figured it out yet. Now I'm just trying to follow movement of those lines from left out to the right-hand corner. That hasn't solved it yet. So now I'm starting to get freer, and I'm losing the drawing, breaking it up. So I'm breaking up that little sky-like area now, and I'm just kind of now just pure instinct. I'm neutralizing the colors. I'm sticking with the idea of it being pink. So that's sort of abstracted that area. We don't have a sky and some rolling hills anymore. We've got sort of an interesting hard-edged shape. But I still have this issue with my orange triangle. And this is what I mean by a problem area becomes your solution. So I just took a risk and got rid of it. And sometimes when something is really not working and you take a risk and you just get bold, that's when the solutions happen. That's where the magic happens. But it does require taking risks. And this is on a sketchbook. I realize not that big of a risk, but it can feel that way. So now I like this a lot better. I got a little bit excited about it, and I painted wet on wet. So just always have a towel handy to blot things out. It creates interesting texture and a sense of aliveness. So that pink is now coming down, pink purple. And it's starting to, so now this is a better use of those pastels. I knew I wanted to grab at them because they were sitting right there, which is often the way I work. It's very intuitive and instinctual. I have something sitting there and I'll just grab at it. So now I'm just wanting to define the lines of the top area a little bit more by blocking them out with my white paint. Finding some areas for just some luminosity. And it's starting to look interesting to me. As I'm looking, it started almost reminding me of this Diebenkorn painting that I looked at afterwards. You can see that there. It's kind of broken up like that. There's a hard edge, and I'm just fussing around with it, adding little bits and pinks, and it's a process you can try, and you can use this to work big. Same process. Here's another example of a painting I kind of started in the same way, or itty bitty, teeny tiny. You can also jumpstart this and move from this sketch and scale it up if you really like what happens in your notebook, for example. I don't know why I'm showing this. I think the colors came out kind of nicely. I like that. I'll show you some examples on retreat of what I did. So there they are. They're all capturing the landscape, doing their blind contour drawing. Someone's taking a break, doing a little yoga. And here are the results. Here's some student work. It's pretty cool, pretty unique. So give that a try and let me know how it goes.